Oh no's, hellos, and welcome back to another videos. And today we'll be doing something a little bit different. This is gonna be a top five, and someone wanted this, so I decided, hey, why not just put it together? Now it was a little bit tricky to put together, but I got it most of the way done. But I'm only doing top five because top 10 would be really hard. So yeah, I looked for the top five mono blue creatures, and this is what I found in all of Magic the Gathering. There were And there's surprisingly not that many blue creatures because merfolk isn't a thing, right? But surprisingly, there wasn't a lot of blue creatures. So actually, this mono blue list was actually pretty easy. But today we're going to take a look at the five mono blue creatures that are actually good. So this just saying what I need to say. Saying what I need to say. Okay, whatever. So at number five we have Brawl, Chief of Compliance, and yeah, you probably saw this coming, but he's just an awesome boy. So Baral, Chief of Compliance, is a 1 blue legendary creature, human wizard. Instants and sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast, so that's pretty good. And whenever a spell or an ability you control counters a spell, you may draw a card, then discard a card. So every time you counter, you loot. And things cost 1 less to cast. Well, instants and sorcery, that is. So Baral, Chief of Compliance, was actually played in Brawl. Not Brawl. 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 You guys are hearing me? Brawl. Yes. So he's playing a lot of Brawl decks. But in these Brawl decks, there would be a lot of counter spells. Now, this led to games being really hard to be won because of the way, counter spells worked in this deck. You would just outvalue your opponent and shut him out of the game. And this made counterspell decks a thing in Brawl. So they had to ban Brawl to try to balance it. Now this was banned in Brawl just a little while back, but he was banned in Brawl because of that reason. Now there is rotation in Brawl, so every standard rotation they rotate out a set, and he was in the was it Kaladesh? No, I don't even know what this was. I don't even care, but he was in a broken set, and yeah, he was pretty good. Now, Baral still sees play today in Storm decks. This includes like the Epic Storm or just, what is that one other one called? Like Gifts Ungiven Storm? Yeah, he's basically played in those decks because it can reduce your cost of your spells, and he's a very efficient creature overall. And yeah, that's why I put him on number five because of how efficient he is at doing stuff. Now let's move on to number four, which we'll see some broken crap. So at number four, this is really tough, but I actually put number four at True Name Nemesis. So if you guys haven't heard of this card, it's a one blue blue merfolk rogue. And as this creature enters, choose a player. You can even choose yourself if you really want to. True Name Nemesis has protection from the chosen player. Why is this good? It's a 3/1, one blue blue. Well, basically, if you're playing a match where it's just 1v1 bro, then your opponent can't target this thing. So they have to blow it up with a board wipe. And that can get really annoying for a efficient creature like this. Now this sees play in vintage decks to outvalue their opponent with Xerox basically. This is played in a lot of decks like with Xerox or even Merfolk in vintage and legacy. And this is very very much its name, a nemesis to the format. So what happened? Well, this was actually supposed to be just a commander card, but unfortunately there is still other legal places it could be in, like Legacy and Vintage. So it saw play there, and it was basically a very annoying card because the opponent couldn't target it. So the only way they can actually blow it up is if they had a board wipe or a sack outlet. Now that got really annoying because basically this creature came down to a hexproof, indestructible creature, you might say, and that became really popular in Vintage and Legacy. So yeah, that's why this card is really good. And just protection creatures that do this sort of thing is just really annoying. Just think of it as Bogles but on crack. Yeah, this card's really good. Let's move on to the next card that is really, really good. And at number 3, this is again another tough one, but I actually put Snapcaster Mage at number 3. Now, I could have put him at number 2, but hear me out. Okay, so Snapcaster Mage, 1 blue, human wizard. A lot of wizards on this. You're a wizard, Harry. And flash. And when this creature enters the battlefield, you target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. And the flashback cost is equal to the mana cost. So yeah, this sees play in a lot of decks in Modern because you can get like really good instant and sorcery cards. And you may think, oh, that's not that good. Well, it's pretty damn good if you get flashback cards. Think of flashing back your Path to Exile or your Lightning Bolt. This creature has it all because it gives your graveyard an extra oomph in power. And it really just saw play in a lot of Jeskai control decks, or any control deck in that matter, to gain advantage of instant or sorceries. So it's just a really efficient creature for what it is, and honestly, it's going to stay like that for the rest of the time. And look at that cool ass artwork. Really, really, really cool. So yeah, that was the Snapcaster Mage. Now let's move on to the Snapcaster not Mage. And yes, this is number 2, Urza. Now people might be mad, but hear me out. Urza Lord Artificer. 2 blue for human Artificer. And when this boy enters the battlefield, create card. Okay, don't create card, just create a 0/0 colorless construct with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. And you can tap and untap artifact you control to add blue. So basically kind of like Tolarian Academy, so kind of broken. And he has an activated ability of 5 to shuffle your library and exile the top card of your library. And you can cast that card without paying its mana cost. Holy crap, a lot of text. But a very, very powerful creature. Now this actually sees play in modern Urza decks, seeking to advantage basically the second ability, just to gain a bunch of mana. Now, this used to see play more often with the partnering of Oko, and it made Urza decks way too good, so Oko had to be banned. But I still think this card is powerful for its own good because of just the activated ability. It's a really good activated ability, and his toughness ain't no joke. But where he really gets his pizzazz is that honestly that artifact creature token. I mean, this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. That's pretty good, especially for costing 4 mana. You're getting 2 bodies and a free mana out of it. Now you could think that's really good, so it only costs 1 blue for a 1/4. Not too shabby. And Urza Lord Artificer also sees play in ADH, so this is a really good commander if you want him to be. But this is not going to be a good commander, because the number 1 card is, people might think this is a bad card, but I think it's a really, really good card. Delver of Secrets, the best mono blue creature in the game. So Delver of Secrets is just 1 blue, just 1. And it's a human wizard. Oh my gosh, the wizards really did something amazing. The wizards, all of them made it on this list. But anyways, at the beginning of your upkeep, you look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card. If it's an instant or sorcery card revealed this way, transform Delver of Secrets. And this is where it gets really, really good. Ta-da! Insectile Aberration. And it's just a 3/2 flyer. So you may be thinking to yourself, oh, this thing's crappy, you can just lightning bolt it, you could just destroy it. Oh, it's so good. Shut up. Okay. This creature is OP as balls because it actually sees play in vintage and legacy decks called Delver. And it's actually based on this card. The reason why this sees play so much is because you can actually use it as a Xerox type of creature. So what you try to do with basically all these Delver decks is you run a bunch of ways, like counters or payoff cards for your Delver. And you could basically get a 3/2 flyer as early as turn 2. Now that may not sound great in Vintage and Legacy, but it actually is if you can do 3 damage in the air constantly with this creature. And let me say, there ain't a lot of flyers in Vintage and Legacy, so this card is really good for those decks. And it offers a powerhouse of different types of things. And the reason why Delver is so good in Vintage is because it can run Daze and Force of Will to protect your Delver even more. And yeah, Delver is just the best creature in the game because you're basically paying 1 mana for a 3/2, possibly. And that's just great. You know, for a rate like that, I would take that. That's almost like Stormcrow type of effect, but even better because it's a 3/2 and not a 2/1. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the top 5 mono blue creatures. And sorry I've not been uploading recently, but I've just been really tired from a lot of things. And as you can hear, my voice, it kind of gets hard for me to talk sometimes. So yeah. Anyways, that's gonna do it for tonight. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day or night. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, and peace.